Hello, my fellow gamers. This is Jay with GXP. Today we are talking about ROC Season 2. We are currently in our Week 2, so I will be going over loyalty, healing, and war planning. Right now, some of the things that we're faced with are loyalty versus the tile defense. People are, I have loyalty, but man, they're killing my troops. So I'll go over what's going on with the tiles. Troop loss versus healing, and healing, because you got to beef up your troops. You got to have a plan on how to heal them to be ready for war. We're going to talk about how enemies attack and how we attack, which is our war planning. At this point, you should have 4 ACs down, which you can find them from your Alliance Center in the buildings, and you should be able to go to each one of their coordinates, okay? So most everyone is focused on their AC1 because it needs to withstand an assault from an enemy. And depending on where you are in your position, there are various corner configurations depending on your state and who you're with and the rank and power of your alliance. So I'll just kind of show you where we're at. We have our corner set where this is the #1 alliance. We are positioned as the left wing of that alliance to the edge of our grid. Our grid extends almost, I'd say 125 kms in most cases. There are some weaker spots that we are trying to reinforce. The hardest part is tiling out your grid far enough to push the enemy as far away from your main alliance as possible. Once you have pushed out your grid and you have eliminated all of the holes for any castle to come in, you want key positions for your strongest players. So you'll have a handful of people that are designed to protect your AC1. And then down the corridors of the different paths that people could take, you want to have strategic positions for people. Like we have a wall over here with this place open for someone to be strategic to shut down this corridor if someone's trying to tile. Same with these sides. These sides are designed to shut down this corridor, and they're also designed to shut down this corridor if someone's coming from this area. The edge of your tile defense is always your weakest position. So the further you can push out the edge, and the more people that you can put along the edge to fight initial rally points will help keep them from ever getting started on tiling towards your ACs. So with that being said, that's just a quick look at AC1, kind of how your corner gets configured, how the corridors, you want to protect the corridors leading up. And now let's talk tiles, okay? So inside your castle, the very first thing that you want to be beefing up is your troops. Knowing that Season 2 is going to have stronger tiles and you're going to have more damage on your troops, you want these numbers to be much higher, all right? 1.5 million footmen, 300,000 to 500,000 cav. Those are basic minimum numbers that you want to have in place, which AC3 is going to be level 9 tiles, all right? So you need to get your loyalty up to 2,700 to be able to take a level 9 tile. But if you look under this view and you look at the guard power of that tile, it needs a 1.3 million power to match its defense. So even though you have loyalty of 2,700, you still have to have legions strong enough to overpower that guard defending it. Now, these are the troops. So it's got 30K, 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 and then another 30K, 30, 30, 30. So in essence, I am looking at, that's 90 and 90. That's 180,000 troops that are in that tile. So if I just take a real quick look and compare it to, say, this, my legion here, well, I got 90, 90, and 19. So I'm a little bit over that 180. Those T7s are Arcane Knights, so they're not my strongest, and I don't have a full set of gear for them, okay? So I'm looking at some damage. T7 Knights are the second fastest Legion troop. The fastest are T1, but they're weak. So when you start getting to level 9s and higher, T7 cavalry make better sense than T1 cavalry. So even though we had a victory, we lost some people. So we had heavy injuries of 18,000, minor injuries of 28,000. So that's almost 20,000 per tile that I take that I'm losing to the hospital. I now have to heal them. And healing during ROC is different. You use the hospital, okay? Right now, if I were to try and heal all of my troops, my wounded troops are at 360K. And it would take me a full 24 hours for me to heal all of them. And the reason why I use my Arcane Knights is so I can get to tiles faster than the enemy, all right? So if I'm tiling out of state and we're trying to penetrate someone's grid and they are trying to defend against us, I want to use my Arcane Knights to get to tiles faster. And then if there are tiles that are enemy tiles that have to have 500 demo or higher, I'll use my Royal Footmen, because if they're not reinforced, I can pretty much take that tile in one hit using my Royal Footmen. Well, I want to lower this down as far as I can to get to my 8-hour window. Well, that gives me 93K here and 27K here. I also know that I have some serum. I also know that I have purchased some 8-hour serums as well. So I'm now going to double that 8-hour to 16-hour because I know I can use a 16-hour serum. I'm sorry, an 8-hour serum to reduce that down. So if I'm at 16 hours, I get 100K and I get 135K, and that will be done before wartime. So that's how I plan my strategy. Now, where you can get your serums from, all right, there are a couple places. The easiest place is inside the War Institute. If you go to the honor shop, it's 3,000 per serum. This is the serum you want. And when you buy it, these are 8-hour chunks of serum. All right, now the other places to get your serum are by doing the tasks. So when you go inside the Reign of Chaos and you do these tasks, each one of them has different rewards. And as you can click on them and see, the rewards kind of tell you what's going on. This one gives you 20 regeneration serums. Imperial Investment, this one gives you 20 a day. If you go into the seasonal challenge right here, serums here, but you have to unlock the elite or unlock the, you have to pay money to open these elite or epic channels. So when you kill a white, the very first time you get a 25 serums. Every white after that, for the 24-hour period, you get 1 serum. So kill 1 a day, get your 25. There might be other places that you get them rewarded, but I'm not exactly positive. So let's talk about how the enemy would attack us. When an enemy drops in, they are basically looking for a place to put their rally point, and that is a 3x3 square. So they can go here, they can go here, they can go here. And most enemies are going to be looking for vulnerabilities, and all vulnerabilities start for looking for 2x2 holes and along the edge of the grid to see where the closest point to get to those are. Now going from there to there means that they have to go through all of these different tiles. They put their rally point, they start tiling. And the key to stopping an enemy advance is not waiting for them to get up here. It is having the firepower to time them out down here. And I don't care if you have a brand new C10 farm. So by the time they've gotten from here up to there, your 5-minute timers are ending and your new 5-minute timers are starting. And you're going to take another row behind it. So you've got another area of 5-minute timers starting, you know, because if every time they try and advance, they're hitting a 5-minute timer wall. Well, if you can do that 20 times, that's pretty much the game. Now, some of the other ways the enemies will come at you is they'll drop a rally point, they'll send a few people, they'll start tiling, they'll get your focus in a certain area, and then they'll go over here and drop a rally point. All right, this rally point that they drop here, they're going to try and tile from that up to your AC2 which is in this area. So it is a vulnerability because they may draw your attention to a certain area that is around your main AC1, and they'll start trying to get to your AC2 by tiling. Now, if you do not clean up tiles in your state and you allow the enemy to get a foothold, these enemy tiles here, because they are so close to this AC, if they were to have a war, they could just start tiling from right there to these buildings and start destroying buildings. It is a huge disadvantage to you, your alliance, your state, to let enemy tiles stay in your state. So it's important to get after them and clean them up. Now, how do we attack? Okay. Well, we have to size up our enemy. And the way we size up our enemy is we basically go and we look at our season. We look at who's 5 before us, who's 5 behind us. We track who fights at reset. We've gone rounds with XH1, so we know that they fight at reset. So what I've done is I've built bookmarks. So in my bookmarks, I know this is their AC4, this is their AC3, this is their AC2, this is their AC1. So tiling before wars, getting into key strategic positions is essential, all right? This one has 2 pathways. So if you start down here, you can come through this area and you can tile up to this area. Now I've found, like in ours, these corridors where these alliance farms are set, these become challenge points. So if you don't have a castle close enough and you are not using fast troops, someone positioned over here is going to be able to beat you to those tiles and put timer walls in front of you. Knowing that here is their AC2, here is their AC1, here is their AC3, I would probably want to set a rally point here and start tiling to their AC2. It may not be what we use for tonight's war, but that tile road getting us towards AC2 allows us to position ourselves for a future war against AC2 with no rally point. You know, it's the same with us going down here and an hour and a half or 2 hours before wartime, sending a tile team in to start tiling off of our existing tiles. The key to offense is having tiles in states. If there are tiles in a state, you can tile off of them. The problem is if you don't have tiles and you have to set rally points, you have to wait for wartime to set those rally points to be able to begin tiling in that state. If you don't have tiles, size up their corridors, size up their grids, look for vulnerabilities in their grids. Look for all 4 of their ACs and see if you can't get to their AC1, start a war, drop a rally point at their AC1, draw their attention to you, and go set another rally point close to their AC2. It may be 100 kilometers, 150 kilometers away, but you start that road and you maintain a presence in that state. That's what's important for offensive strategy. And, you know, with those being said, you have a good chance of getting your alliance in position for better rankings in the 6 weeks that ROC lasts. All right, guys, I know this is long. I'll try to chop it up and make it shorter, but I appreciate you watching and have a great wartime. I'm Jay. Peace out.